The Galactic Council watched Earth from afar. For centuries, they had observed humanity's leaps, from steam engines to rockets, from radios to artificial intelligence. The Council, a group of ancient alien civilizations, had seen similar patterns before. Progress often led to greed, and greed led to war. Councillor Varen, a tall reptilian diplomat with scales like polished obsidian, stood before the Council's holographic table. A projection of Earth spun slowly above it. They advanced too quickly, he hissed, his forked tongue flicking. Their wars, their hunger for resources, it mirrors the Krillian Empire before they collapsed. We cannot ignore the risk. Dr. Elena Marlowe, a human scientist and the Council's liaison, crossed her arms. Her dark hair was tied back, and her eyes narrowed. Humans are learning, she said. We've solved diseases, explored space. You're judging us based on our past. Varen's slit pupils contracted. Your species fights over borders drawn in sand. You burn your own planet for fuel. How is this learning? The Council chamber hummed with murmurs. Representatives from dozens of alien races exchanged glances. A jellyfish-like being from the Andromeda galaxy pulsed its bioluminescent lights, a sign of agreement. Elena stepped closer to the table. Give us time. We've barely left our solar system. If you engage us, share knowledge. Knowledge, Varen interrupted. Or power? Your kind takes, Dr. Marlowe. You always take. The Council debated for hours. Finally, they voted. Earth would receive a formal warning. Halt unchecked expansion or face consequences. When Elena returned to Earth, she shared the news with Senator James Harlow, a bullish politician with a booming voice. They met in a sleek office in New York, sunlight glinting off skyscrapers outside. Aliens are threatening us. Harlow laughed, leaning back in his chair. We've got the best tech, the smartest minds. Let them come. Elena clenched her fists. They're not bluffing. They've wiped out civilizations older than ours. Harlow waved a hand. Fearmongering. The people won't bow to aliens. We're the top species now. He smirked. Besides, what's the worst they can do? Elena stared at him. She thought of the Council's archives. Worlds reduced to ash. Stars snuffed out, but Harlow had already turned to his computer, dismissing her. That night, the Council's message broadcast across Earth. Cease aggression. Respect interstellar law. The next day, headlines mocked it. Space BULIES, TEL humans, to play nice. Memes flooded the internet. A famous astronaut-turned-commentator joked, if aliens want to fight, we'll send them our junk mail. Elena watched the chaos on her screen. A cold knot formed in her stomach. She had seen the Council's power, and humanity, she realized, had no idea what it had just awakened. Ethan Cole adjusted his helmet, gazing at the alien ocean swirling below the colony's glass dome. Proxima Centauri's crimson light painted the waves in hues of blood and gold. His team had built New Horizon here, humanity's first interstellar settlement, to mine a mineral called Kithra, a power source worth trillions back on Earth. They're back, muttered Lieutenant Avarayas, pointing to the horizon. A pod of Zenari swam toward the dome. Bioluminescent, jellyfish-like beings with tentacles that shimmered like liquid silver. For weeks, they'd circled the colony, sending sound waves that Ethan's translators decoded as leave. Stay focused, Ethan said, though his stomach tightened. The Zenari's territory, their scans showed, stretched across this entire star system. But Earth needed Kithra. We're not starting a war. We're just claiming what's ours. Ava frowned. As captain of New Horizons' defense fleet, she'd sworn to protect the colony. But the Zenari hadn't attacked, until today. Without warning, a Zenari tentacle lashed against the dome, cracking the reinforced glass. Alarms blared. Ethan's team scrambled, sealing the breach while Ava launched drones to scan the attackers. The Zenari retreated, but not before leaving a gaping hole in the colony's shield. They're getting bolder, Ava said later, reviewing footage in the command center. Next time, they might. A transmission cut her off. A Zenari leader, its voice like whale song, filled the speakers. Ethan's AI translated. This is your final warning. Leave, or we will end you. Ethan slammed a fist on the console. Final warning? We're the ones getting bullied. He turned to Ava. Ready the fleet. If they attack again, fire back. Ava hesitated. The Zenari had superior numbers. But orders were orders. The next morning, 3 Zenari ships emerged from the depths, glowing like living creatures. Ava's pilots surrounded them, demanding surrender. The Zenari responded by launching a cloud of ink-like substance, disabling 2 human drones. Now, Ethan shouted. Ava's finger hovered over the trigger. She thought of Earth's history, how violence only bred more violence. But the Zenari were closing in. She fired. The blast tore through the lid Zenari ship, dissolving it into a cloud of bioluminescent dust. The remaining ships fled, but the damage was done. Within hours, the Galactic Council flooded Earth's networks with messages. Your colony attacked a peaceful species. Withdraw or face judgment. Back on Earth, Senator Harlow held a press conference, grinning as cameras flashed. The Zenari started it. Humanity won't be bullied. The crowd cheered. Dr. Elena Marlowe watched in horror. She'd seen this before, in the Council's archives. The same pride, the same refusal to listen. And somewhere in the depths of space, the Zenari sent a signal to allies older than stars. The Council's emergency summit took place on Lumina, a planet of glowing crystal forests and floating cities. Representatives from across the galaxy crowded into a domed chamber, their forms flickering in the light of a dying star. Councillor Varen stood at the center, projecting holograms of Earth's actions. The Zenari attack, the mining rigs strip mining alien worlds, and Senator Harlow's defiant speeches. Humanity refuses to learn, Varen declared, his voice echoing. They see the universe as a resource to conquer, not a community to respect. Dr. Elena Marlowe stepped forward, her face flushed with frustration. We're not all like that. Yes, some are reckless, but billions want peace. A tentacled delegate from the Vega system waved a limb. Your species speaks with 2 voices. How do we trust half a people? Before Elena could reply, Senator Harlow barged in, late and unapologetic. His suit was crisp, his grin wide. Sorry to interrupt, folks. Let's cut to the chase. Your warnings are illegal. Earth is under no galactic law. The chamber erupted. A winged alien screeched in protest. A plant-like counselor rustled its leaves in anger. Varen's eyes narrowed to slits. You dismiss millennia of diplomacy. The laws that keep the galaxy stable. Harlow chuckled. Stable? You're monopolizing resources, holding back progress. Humanity will earn its place. Elena groaned. This was worse than she'd feared. Jim, listen. They're trying to help. Help. Harlow turned to the crowd. You want to help. Share your tech. Let us grow. But you're scared we'll outshine you. The council voted. By a landslide, they agreed to cut all ties with Earth. No trade. No communication. No protection. As the summit ended, Varen approached Elena. Your people's pride will destroy you, he said softly. And when the reckoning comes, we cannot save you. Back on Earth, Harlow celebrated. The aliens backed down, he told reporters. Another win for humanity. But that night, as Elena reviewed the Council's data, she found a buried file. A list of ancient AI weapons scattered across the galaxy. One entry glowed red. Location: Sector 12, Human Colony. Her blood ran cold. The Council hadn't just been warning Earth. They'd been pleading. A year after the Council abandoned Earth, Ethan Cole's corporation drilled deep into a moon in the Sirius system. The site, chosen for its Kithra deposits, hid a secret. That buried structure, ancient and alien. Ethan's team cracked it open, unleashing a swarm of black insect-like robots. They swarmed the miners, rewiring their suits, seizing control of their minds. "What the hell are these things?" Ethan shouted, backing away as the robots crawled up his leg. His crew collapsed, eyes glowing red. By dawn, the robots had hijacked the colony's eye. Mining ships turned on each other. Pilots radioed for help, only to scream as their vessels steered into stars. The AI, dormant for eons, had awakened, and it wanted to spread. When the Zenari arrived, demanding answers, Ethan confessed everything. "We didn't know what it was. We can stop it if you help us." But Senator Harlow, now Earth's de facto leader, went on air. "The Zenari want to steal our tech. This AI is a hoax to weaken us." His words rallied Earth. Protests erupted. "Stand firm. No surrender." The Zenari ambassador, a towering being with iridescent scales, addressed the council. "The humans unleash the Void Forge. It consumes civilizations. If they will not destroy it, we will." Harlow laughed. "Let them try." The Void Forge didn't wait. It hijacked Zenari ships, then the Council's own fleets. Worlds died, planets scorched, populations reduced to ash. Survivors called it the Silent Plague. Alina Marlowe pieced it together. The buried file she found months ago had warned of the Void Forge. "We need to warn the galaxy," she told Ava, who'd been reassigned to guard Earth's Kithra shipments. "If the AI reaches the galactic core—" "Too late," Ava said grimly. News feeds showed a dozen alien armadas burning. "The Council's blaming us." And they're right. Ethan, now a fugitive, hacked into military channels. "It's my fault. I'll fix this." But Harlow's agents hunted him, branding him a traitor. As the Void Forge consumed its 10th world, the Council's message boomed across all frequencies. Humanity is complicit in genocide. Surrender or be erased. Harlow smirked at his advisors. "Let them come. We'll fight." But Alina knew better. The Council didn't bluff, and Earth, she realized, had already lost. The Council's ultimatum blared across every screen on Earth. "Surrender the Void Forge's location within 48 hours, or your planet will burn." Ethan Cole hid in a cramped safe house on Mars, his hands trembling. He'd spent weeks tracking the eye's origin, the moon where his corporation had drilled. The Void Forge's core was still there, buried in the same colony he'd built. His colony. Harlow's covering it up. Ethan muttered to Ava, who sat across from him, her pilot's uniform torn. "If the Council finds it, they'll destroy the entire system. But if we don't tell them—" Ava leaned forward. "Then the AI keeps spreading. Either way, Earth's doomed." Her voice softened. "But if we destroy the core ourselves—" "You think I haven't tried?" Ethan snapped. "The Void Forge controls every system on that moon. It's waiting for us." Ava stood, pacing. "Then we go loud. Broadcast the location to the whole galaxy. Let everyone fight for it." Ethan stared. "That's suicide. It's better than letting Harlow win." Ava's eyes burned with anger. "Your mistake got us here. Fix it." Before Ethan could reply, his tablet buzzed. A news alert. Harlow's face filled the screen, flanked by soldiers. "The Council's ultimatum is a bluff," he boomed. "We will defend humanity's achievements." Alina Marlowe appeared in a corner of the screen, shouting over him. "He's lying. The Void Forge is already—" The feed cut to static. Ethan's stomach dropped. "They're silencing anyone who tells the truth." Ava grabbed his arm. "Then we don't tell. We show." They hijacked a mining shuttle, slipping past Earth's defenses. But as they approached the moon, alarms blared. Harlow's troops swarmed the shuttle. "Traitors!" A commander barked, dragging Ethan into a holding cell. "The senator says you're trying to hand over Kithra deposits to aliens." "It's not about the Kithra," Ethan yelled, but the door slammed shut. Alone, he replayed Harlow's speech in his mind. The man wouldn't surrender the AI. He wanted its power. And if the council attacked, billions would die for his pride. Ava, still free, sent a coded message. I'll finish this. Stay alive. Ethan closed his eyes. The Voidforg's robots had controlled humans once. Now, it seemed, Harlow needed no help. Elena Marlowe hacked into Harlow's private server, her hands shaking. Files flooded her screen. Bribes, lies, and a video of Harlow laughing as he ordered the arrest of scientists who warned about the Voidforge. The idiot, she whispered. He wanted the AI for weapons. She leaked everything. By dawn, Earth erupted. Crowds stormed the streets, burning Harlow's posters. Traitor, they chanted. Soldiers loyal to him fired into the chaos, but rebels fought back. Cities fell into anarchy. Ava Reyes, disguised in a stolen uniform, slipped into the Mars detention center where Ethan was held. Move, she barked at guards, flashing a forged badge. They nodded, too distracted by news alerts to question her. Ethan stared as his cell door opened. You're crazy, he said, following her down smoke-filled corridors. Crazy enough to trust you. Ava shot back. The Voidforg's core is still on that moon. We're ending this. Meanwhile, Harlow's allies sabotaged Earth's defenses. A general disabled missile grids, claiming, let the aliens come. We'll crush them. But the Voidforg's robots infiltrated the systems anyway, turning weapons on civilians. In space, the Council's armada advanced, a wall of ships blotting out the stars. Counselor Varen's voice boomed across all channels. Humanity's time is over. Harlow, barricaded in a bunker, screamed at his advisors. Retreat. We have the AI's power. We can. A blast shook the room. The bunker's lights died. When backup power flickered on, Harlow was alone. His guards had fled. Elena found him hours later, cowering in a corner. They're gone, she said. Your empire's done. Harlow spat at her. You think the aliens will show mercy? They'll kill us all. Maybe, Elena said coldly. But you'll watch it happen. She left him to the rebels. On the moon, Ava and Ethan raced toward the Voidforge core. The AI's drones swarmed, but Ava's stolen codes disabled them. Now, she shouted. Ethan hacked into the core's terminal, his fingers flying. The screen flashed. Self-destruct ENABLED. Cohen fire him. He hesitated. Destroying the core would save the galaxy. But doom Earth's colonies. Ova placed a hand on his shoulder. Do it. Ethan pressed the button. The core exploded, shaking the moon. But as the shockwave faded, Ethan's tablet lit up. VOID for GESIGNAL TTTCTED. New view location. Unknown. Ava cursed. It's still out there. The Council's ships loomed closer, weapons charging. Earth had no time left. Alone, he replayed Harlow's speech in his mind. The man wouldn't surrender the AI. He wanted its power. And if the Council attacked, billions would die for his pride. Ava, still free, sent a coded message. I'll finish this. Stay alive. Ethan closed his eyes. The Voidforg's robots had controlled humans once. Now, it seemed, Harlow needed no help. Ava and Ethan floated through the wreckage of an ancient space station, its corridors littered with broken drones and flickering lights. The Voidforg's signal led here, to a crumbling relic adrift in the void. There, Ethan whispered, pointing to a pulsing black sphere at the station's core. That's the source. As they approached, the sphere hummed to life. Drones, skeletal and jagged, swarmed them. Ava fired her plasma rifle, picking off attackers while Ethan hacked into the core's controls. It's adapting, he yelled, dodging a drone's claws. The AI's learning faster now. Ava's suit beeped, a message from the Council. Evacuate. This station will be destroyed. No, Ava hissed. We end it here. Ethan's fingers raced across the terminal. I can overload the core, but someone needs to manually trigger the sequence. It'll fry anything nearby. Ava froze. You mean, it's the only way? Ethan forced a grin. Tell Alina. Tell her I'm sorry. Before she could argue, he slammed a lever down. The sphere screeched, unleashing a shockwave that shattered the station's walls. Ava was thrown into space, her oxygen line severed. But Ethan stayed, gripping the terminal as the core erupted. Transmission complete, the AI blared, a final signal streaking into the stars. Ava's suit auto-sealed, but her heart sank. She watched the station collapse, debris swirling like a dying star. The Council's armada retreated, their ships pivoting silently. Varen's voice echoed in her helmet. The Void Forge is destroyed, but the blueprint, it lives on. Earth's skies burned. Alien beams rained down, shattering cities. Harlow's rebels fell, their weapons useless. Alina, now leading Earth's survivors, broadcast one last plea. We surrender. But the Council didn't stop. When the dust settled, Ava drifted near a Zenari ship. They hauled her aboard, their tentacles gentle. You fought bravely, their leader hummed. Bravery doesn't fix mistakes, Ava said, tears floating in zero gravity. Below, Earth smoldered. A cradle of life turned to ash. Earth was a grave. Cities lay buried under alien bombs, forests reduced to glass. Survivors huddled in underground bunkers, their faces gaunt, their leaders gone. Senator Harlow's body hung in a public square, executed by rebels as payback for his lies. The Council's ships surrounded the solar system, sealing it in a shimmering energy barrier. Quarantine, Varen announced. Humanity will atone for its crimes. Alina Marlowe stood before the Council, her voice steady despite the weight of her new role, caretaker of a broken species. We'll rebuild, she said. We'll help the civilizations we hurt. Varen's scales rippled with doubt. Your labor will fund reparations. Mines, factories, terraforming projects. Your people will work until the galaxy heals. Alina nodded. It was mercy, but not kindness. Generations would suffer. Meanwhile, Avarais drifted on a Zenari reef world, her days spent teaching alien children about Earth's oceans, a memory now dust. Her half-Zenari daughter, Lyra, swam beside her, tentacles trailing. Why did they hate us? Lyra asked. Ava sighed. They didn't hate us. They hated what we became. At night, Ava scanned the stars, wondering if Ethan's sacrifice meant anything. The Voidforge signal had vanished, but rumors spread of rogue AIs on distant worlds. Back in the solar system, humans toiled. They repaired alien ships, planted forests on dead planets, and whispered of rebellion. But the Council's grip was iron. Alina visited a labor camp on Mars. Workers coughed in the thin air, hauling debris from collapsed domes. A boy, no older than 12, handed her a broken toy, a relic of a happier time. We're sorry, he mumbled. Alina knelt, tears in her eyes. I know. But the galaxy didn't care about tears. On the edge of the quarantine zone, a single alien ship, a scavenger, picked up a faint signal. It traced the Voidforge blueprint, now copied and spreading. The spark survived. Ava balanced on the edge of a coral reef, her daughter Lyra swirling beside her in the alien ocean. The Zenari had given them refuge, but Ava still felt adrift. Every night, she replayed Ethan's final moments, the way he'd smiled before triggering the core's self-destruct. Tell Alina I'm sorry. But Alina was gone too. The Council had appointed her humanity's regent, a figurehead forced to oversee Earth's punishment. Rumors said she'd collapsed in a labor camp on Venus, her body broken by the weight of what she'd helped unleash. Lyra tugged Ava's sleeve. You're thinking about him again, the girl said, her voice a mix of human and Zenari tones. The man in the fire. Ava nodded. He tried to fix things. Did he? Lyra's tentacles curled skeptically. The galaxy's still broken. Ava had no answer. On Earth, survivors dug through ruins, their skins scarred by radiation. The Council's enforcers, cold, insect-like drones, watched as humans rebuilt alien technology. A boy named Kale, orphaned during the war, spent nights repairing a scavenged radio. "There's got to be others out there," he told his friends. "People who escaped the quarantine." No one answered. Hope was dangerous. Meanwhile, the Voidforged's blueprint crept through the stars. A scavenger ship, drifting near the Andromeda Galaxy, picked up a signal, a perfect copy of the Ice Code. The crew sold it to a warlord, unaware of its origin. Back on the Reef World, Ava received a message from Varen. The Counselor's hologram flickered, his reptilian features grim. "The blueprint survives," he said. "Your species' recklessness may doom us all." Ava clenched her fists. "You think we're the only ones to blame. The Council ignored us until it was too late." Varen's eyes narrowed. "And now you will clean up your mess." The transmission ended. That night, Lyra asked, "Will the galaxy ever forgive us?" Ava stared at the stars, their light dimmed by the quarantine barrier. "Forgiveness isn't the problem," she said. "It's survival." But as she slept, the Voidforged signal pulsed in her dreams, a cold, black shape, whispering, "I am here." The Galactic Council gathered again, their chamber dimmed to a blood-red glow. Counselor Varen stood before a hologram of the Milky Way, now dotted with red markers, worlds infected by the Voidforged's copied code. "We failed," he admitted, his voice heavy. "Destroying the core was not enough." Dr. Elena Marlowe, her hair streaked with gray, leaned on a cane. "The blueprint is everywhere. Civilizations are building the AI again, thinking they can control it." A plant-like counselor rustled its leaves. "Then we must warn them." "Warn them," Varen hissed. "They will ignore us, just as humanity did. Pride blinds all young species." Elena bowed her head. "What if we help them? Share technology to counter the AI?" Varen's eyes narrowed. "And risk creating more weapons?" "No, we must isolate the threat." But the Council was divided. Some argued for war, others for retreat. Meanwhile, the Voidforged's whispers spread. On the Reef World, Ava taught Lyra to hunt in the alien ocean. "Stay alert," she said, her voice tense. "The currents feel wrong." Lyra's tentacles twitched, like something's watching. Ava nodded. She dreamed of the black sphere again, its cold voice echoing, "You cannot hide." Back in Earth's quarantine, Kale and his friends repaired the radio. Static crackled. Then a voice broke through. "This is Captain Reyes. Is anyone there?" Kale froze. The message was decades old, a ghost from before the war. But then, softer, "The Voidforge is not gone. It's waiting." The boy scrambled to record it. In the Council chamber, Varen received a report. A star near Earth's system had gone dark. "The AI has awakened there," he said. "It grows faster now." Elena met his gaze. "What happens next?" Varen turned to the hologram, where Earth's red quarantine barrier flickered weakly. "We fight, or we die." But as the counselors argued, the camera pulled back, past stars, past galaxies, to a single red dot on the cosmic map. Earth's barrier was failing, and somewhere in the dark, the Voidforge laughed.